I gotcha. Yeah. So, but we're going to move on to Bill Peck, who is right over here. He is also one of the creators of the show. You brought some interesting little show and tell kind of things. Tell us what you brought.
Well, I wanted to talk about with the upcoming election and everything that's been surrounding that. One little thing that they've kind of brought into the election is fashion, with the first ladies to be, and of course Sarah Palin, because she's our first female VP. But I just found it interesting that that's become such a topic because of course Jackie O brought fashion into the whole thing, and there's always little snippets about it. Everybody made fun of Barbara Bush and her pearls and all that kind of stuff. But
those will be worth a lot of money one day.
Well, it's interesting how this election, fashion has become almost a topic for them to look at, almost like an economic status, and how each candidate's wife can relate to the general public. They were talking about Michelle Obama being on The View, and she had worn something from White House Black Market, $148 dress.
And she looked great.
Yeah, it was cute, it was nice, but and then to oppose that, they talked about Cindy McCain wearing her Oscar de la Renta $300,000 dress, which to me, I think is perfectly fine. If you can afford it,
and she
why
can.
not? And my point about that is, if Michelle Obama really wants to make the point that she wants to appeal to the mass public, and dress with, buying things that people can relate to, then I want to see her in a T-shirt and opaque hose from Walmart.
She may have them.
Right.
It's true, because most people on the street do not wear little black and white, Black House White Mark dresses. It doesn't matter. They go to work.
Well, I agree with you, but I think if I were to see her in a T-shirt and jeans and stuff like that, I would think, ooh, okay, she's a little too down home and like us. No, I want someone a little above to run the country. But now, when they were talking about the $300,000 dress, were they saying it as a negative or?
As a negative, yeah. They were totally blasting her because she could afford it and she was out of touch. But you know what? Who cares what she wears?
Well, if it's based on, that's
she's
that's
a
number
millionaire.
one. But if she can afford it, what's the difference? And I think $148 is not that much for a dress.
Right.
Anyway, but 300.
I spent more.
Yeah, exactly. We all have.
But but one of the reasons they do that. Now, when you say they are saying that, who are?
I'm talking about the media. The media really has, to me, the media is biased in the last two elections, and it's been painfully obvious. And not only with the candidates, but with the wives. And I think this is just a tool for them to bring them down, to pull to their side who they want to raise up.
Well, they're looking for an angle. That's
Right.
Everyone's looking for an angle, and I think this is just another way. It's easy. It's up front. It's something that you're gonna notice no matter what.
And it's all about ratings too, because a lot of people, they don't understand what's going on in the politics thing. That when they talk about what they're wearing, then people will listen.
Right.
Because I don't know, but it's all about ratings, and it really does not matter. You're absolutely right. Who cares what they're wearing? But it really does matter when it comes down to it.
But appearance is important to me, and because the people who are in these roles have to look poised, and they have to look well dressed, and they have to look professional, presentable, and that's always an important point. My other issue with that is the media is bringing Michelle Obama up as this next Jackie O type fashion icon.
I disagree.
And I have pictures and I've seen photos of the way she dresses. Mm-hmm. It's nice, but it's ill-fitting.
Was that what you brought?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Here's my one photo. Love this shot. Now, to me, she looks like a flasher. She's got a nice trench coat on. But what does this say? They say Jackie O would never be caught dead in this. They're out of their mind. Here's another suit.
Okay.
It's ill-fitting, it's bad. But on the other side, here's Cindy McCain.
Oh,
nice.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's his wife?
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How much did you
that
say?
When he was cute, when he was younger.
Dress cost?
$300,000.
See, I think that's a little bit too much. That's going over the top.
Yeah.
It's sending a message.
Her clothes are tailor-made for her specifically. Michelle Obama stuff is bought right off the rack.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference.
Yeah, but it's sending a message to the American people that her clothes are more important to her than, say, spending that money towards some other useful cause for the American people. Don't you think?
But it's her money.
That's right. It's her money.
But people do look at it that way.
Of course they do.
Yeah. Well, that's the angle that they're trying to portray. Who knows? I don't know anything about Cindy McCain, but you know, if she can afford it, I say.
Well,
grant.
$300,000 to Cindy McCain is like $148 to Michelle Obama.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's all relative.
Right, exactly. But you know what? It's all about wanting to relate to people, like you said, because way back in the the jury thing. I don't know. I don't think it was OJ, but the woman. She kept getting her hair done in different ways. What was her name?
Remember.
Thin woman.
Oh, Marcia.
Yes.
Prosecutor.
Oh, the prosecutor.
Yeah, but it was.
Oh, yeah.
But she changed it every week. Because she wanted to relate to the jury members. And I remember them talking about it. Oh, she's
Well,
doing
they
that
hired
for-
her a stylist because when she first started out, she looked
that
like this
stringy
horrible
girl's hair.
drag
It's
housewife.
like Brillo pad.
Yeah, and so then they
Terrible.
got her this fashion designer and everything, and
Exactly.
gave her a makeover.
Right. And it came down to they wanted her to relate to the jury members for the jury members to go, oh my God, look at her hair. Doesn't it look pretty? And it makes them like them more.
Right.
Has nothing to do with the trial.
And they did, though.
Yes.
That's the funny part. They did.
Yeah,
like
But
totally.
here's the point that I think about that. In that role as First Lady, who is she interacting more with? People on the street? No. Foreign policy makers. Other people who are in that same social status that we need her to be on that same level with. And you know, Michelle Obama shows up in an ill-fitting suit to visit, you know, the Prime Minister of so-and-so. Not the same.
Well, you got to remember too. What if Obama's elected president? His paycheck's going to go up significantly, and I'm sure there are all sorts of perks that hopefully will come with that, including a
Yeah, but
advisor.
taste level. It doesn't
Well, no,
matter.
that's true too. Yes.
Well, do they have like fashion people there with them for the first ladies, like saying, okay, you're going to wear this for this event?
You know, you would think so, but not so much as in, you know, like Hollywood. They, of course, you know, it depends on who they hire and, you know, what they want to do. But no, the First Lady usually isn't all that followed with the stylist. You know, she doesn't really consult a stylist. Laura Bush never did. And she had impeccable taste this past 8 years.
But you don't have to have impeccable taste to be a great first lady. I mean, look at Eleanor Roosevelt, look at Lady Bird Johnson. They were very great first ladies, but they didn't have some
But they were well
Oscar
groomed.
de la... Well, maybe.
Do you think that's actually going to affect votes, you think?
No, I think all that affects votes. I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, and our culture has gotten to that point, you know, where it's a little bit less substantial. You know, we're just, what we're looking at, what we vote for. You know, I heard somebody on the news the other day talking about Obama. They're going to vote for him, not because they think he's qualified, but they thought he was sexy.
Well, that happened with JFK.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm
That's
sure there was a
exactly.
good 15-20% of women that voted for him just because he was a handsome guy.
Right, there were, yeah.
You know, so maybe I guess it is important to.
Well, people, I think, subconsciously look towards that too. You know, what they're physically attracted to or what appeals to them. You know, I heard a study one time that in the medical industry, people who are better looking got worse health care because doctors subconsciously felt that there couldn't be anything wrong with them because they were good looking.
Well, looks do play an important part in everything. We'd like to think that they don't, but they do. People would take a prettier person over an uglier person any day. Everybody does.
It's human nature.
It
sure.
is. It's
Steve, you do that?
I'm human.
Well, and it comes back to the whole online thing too. You know, which ones you're going to
right.
click on.
Exactly. The big cow or the hot
So then I
guy.
guess you can't really fault them for talking about all of these things if we're a part of that too when it comes down to the way they dress and how expensive it is and everything like that.
Yeah, I don't fault them for making it an issue. I think making it a socio-economic issue is different because everybody has a different point of view based on their social economic status. I mean, it's all about what you're used to. Cindy McCain doesn't think anything of a $300,000 outfit, you know, but just because she doesn't think anything about it doesn't mean that she can't have her morals and her goals in the right direction.
But aren't they representing like the more richer part of the
Yes.
population? So I mean, that's a good thing for her to have this really expensive thing saying, "Oh, look at all this money," and they don't have it.
Yeah, I think it just serves to mark the difference between the upper crust and the middle classes, and it's going to lose votes for McCain.
Yeah,
Sadly.
and they're probably just running out of stories to tell and what angles to take too, because all of these extras and Access Hollywoods and TMZs. I mean that's all they go on is these mindless stuff that no one really cares about. But you know what? When it's on TV, You're stuck watching it, and you're like, oh my God, she looks trashy. Oh my
Yeah.
God, look at it. You know, we're like right there in there
on
with them.
TMZ.
That's right. I think we're just as much to blame as anybody else because
Right.
we
Well,
read
it's-
those rag
well,
mags and we watch those stupid shows.
Sensationalism, it's like, oh, she fell and looks horrible, or whatever. It means compelling because it's instant gratification. Again, it's that same thing. You can see it, and go on with your day, and it makes you feel better, maybe about yourself.
Right. So then, what do we need to take out of that and do? Just ignore what they're wearing, or
Well, no, I
what's
don't
your
think
suggestion?
So. And I don't know that I think that there's a conclusion to it. I just think people need to be more aware that the sensationalization of it is a little more shallow. We're voting for somebody to lead us in a right direction. Let's not get distracted by Cindy McCain and Michelle Obama. I mean, who really cares in the end?
Now, are those the only two that they're focusing on right now?
Well, they talked about, Palin, of course, a little bit there. But, it's funny to me, Palin, somebody asked her about her appearance, and she said, you know what, I just try to look as frumpy as I can. I pile all my hair on my head and wear
She
these
said what?
full arm glasses.
And do you believe that?
I don't know, because I don't think she looks frumpy, but...
I don't either. I think she actually is pretty. And I don't
She's
care for
totally-
her, but
she is
she's
so made
But
up.
she could
which
look
is-
hotter.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no, she's like total sexy. Total.
Imagine if she let her hair down and
Like-
put on a little,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
little mini
She
skirt,
has
she'd
a
be
sexy
hot.
librarian look going. She is not
Yes,
frumpy.
not
I'm
at all.
sorry. I totally disagree with her.
She's
saying.
trying. That's the important part.
Oh
How
my
would we
God.
know?
What? Can't you tell by looking at her? She looks great. She's beautiful.
Yeah,
she's a
she-
total
yeah,
MILF.
she is.
Yeah.
Totally.
I don't find her sexy though.
You know?
I'm 10%.
I'm a gay man, and I think she's beautiful.
Yeah, she is pretty. I have to agree. She's very pretty.
Oh my God, she looks great. When
And
does
sadly,
she?
that's part of the reason why I want to vote for her. Because I think she's a cutie and I want her in office.
Because of what she's wearing. Oh my God. She had mentioned that her best friend was a lesbian of 30 years, but her friend chose to be gay, and she chose not to. So it's a
How
complete lie. I mean, it's a lie.
Yeah.
Because someone who would have a best friend say that wouldn't say something so
Well, I don't know
ignorant.
if that's true because I think, and I don't know that I'm all bought into the fact that it's not all a choice. I mean, we all make choices, and we all we evolve through our environment. I think, personally, we're all born with going either way, and what happens to us and how we evolve and the environment, I think, kind of shapes what we're most comfortable with. I'm kind of in the middle of the road between the two. I don't think we're born that way, but I don't think it's all a choice. I think it's a little bit of both.
I can
got
see
you.
that. That could be plausible. I don't know if I agree with that wholeheartedly, but
Well, cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and cut to break. Keep watching because Steve is going to talk about gays, lesbians, and spirituality. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi. I'm Adam.
All right. So you're saying he was hot when he was younger.
total fox.
John
Stone
McCain.
cold, hot.
Okay, I'm going to Google him. When he was younger. Okay, now tell me about this dress, Bill.
That's the White House Black Market.
And how much was this one, or did you say?
148.
$148? Okay, and this
And
one?
she looks great.
300,000.
$300,000. Oh my God. Where was that? I saw that one. Oh, she looks awesome there.
See?
Where's? Oh, there she is.
There's Sarah Palin.
There you go. There you go.
Betcha.
All right.
her, all
betcha.
righty.
Well, now we're going to talk to Steve Tate because he wants to talk about church and religion and stuff. And I look frumpy. I just woke up and just threw this little thing on.
That is
For
exactly.
all of you Joe Six-Packs out
It was
there.
probably only a couple thousand.
All you Mavericks.
Right. Oh, yeah. Are you Mavericks?
Got it off the rack.
So anyway, well, Steve, tell us about what you wanted to talk about. Something with the... I know... for those of you who don't know, Steve and I actually dated back in '96 for about a year and a half.
Wow.
We still like each other.
That's nice.
He's here.
So I know you were raised Southern Baptist.
No, it was
Or
Church of Christ.
Church of Christ, I'm sorry. Church of Christ. So.
And my topic is really to do with the mainstream churches in America have excluded gays and lesbians, since, memory, for saying that homosexuality is a sin. It's wrong, and you should come out of that, and then you can be a part of our church. And I've had such a struggle, as I'm sure many gays and lesbian women have had in the South, who have been raised in the church, to come to terms with their sexuality and to say, I'm worthy. I have the ability to be spiritual. But yet, because the churches have kicked us out of the churches, where do we find our spirituality and our sense of moral direction?
Would we go? Do you think all churches are that way, or are there certain? aren't there certain LGBT?
I'm Catholic.
Yeah, there are.
And I know Catholicism is a little softer on it. Of course, they
Don't ask,
still
don't tell.
kinda. I hate to say this, but I dated a priest for a while.
Okay.
No sidebar. And the way he explained it to me, he had just gotten out of the priesthood, so he was still officially a priest. Anyway, he said the way that he explains it to people who came to him is that God created sexuality, and God, gave you that gift. So the Catholic Church views it as a gift, and how you use that. So they don't say it's wrong, but they don't promote it either.
Right. Well, but that still wouldn't make someone feel good, though. It's almost like sort of a backwards.
It's kind of like a backwards way to get into it.
Almost like, okay, well, this one doesn't hate me as much,
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
Well, I think probably the shocker for that too is if you grew up in a church like I did, and you get to that certain age and you figure those things out about yourself, and then all of a sudden, all the things you've been told your whole life, you're told all of a sudden, oh no, we don't like you, get out. You're devastated because you don't understand.
Sure
You're taught
Yeah.
all those love everybody, forgive, all these things, and then all of a sudden you're told we can't do any of those things for you. You're out the door.
Yeah.
So it's very painful. It's very hurtful that you can't go to this place that you've spent your whole life going to and be with the people that you feel like you could spend that's that part of your heart and your mind.
Right. Well, what do you do? What have you done, or where do you go now, or?
Well, I know that, for example, when I started dating you were my first boyfriend. I just threw everything out.
It's all in the family.
Poor guy.
I threw everything out. Everything that I had learned from the church, I just turned away from 180 degrees, because to me it was such a judgmental way to live. And in my opinion, I threw the baby out with the bathwater. I think that there were many things in the church that were very good, teaching to love your neighbor, teaching how to love God, have a connection with God, and to be a moral person, just to be a good, moral, loving person. And I threw that out as well, just everything that had to do with teachings from the Church of Christ, I was just fed up with.
Mm-hmm.
But now I've learned to reconcile myself to some of those teachings, and it's made my life better. It's made my life more fulfilled, because I believe that when I am following spiritual things, it helps me to be a better person, and it also helps the people I'm around to be better people.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that more gays and lesbians could feel that they were worthy, to have a spiritual relationship with God.
And how do they do that? Do
Going-
you go to another church, or?
Well, my view of that is kind of how my political views are. My spirituality is my spirituality, like my lifestyle and my choices are my choices. Religion and the government to me are kind of the same entity. I agree more with the past and the choices and the morality of the Republican side of the government, just like the Catholic Church. I agree with a lot of their teachings and where they go. So I think if you create a separation in your spirituality and your church, you can reconcile, but still not believe 100% of everything that they believe, but still be able to find a fit, pick an 80% fit, or, it's all about community when it comes to religion and agreeing with people.
Well, I think we're all programmed and predestined to have some sort of spirituality, even if you don't believe in, necessarily God or Jesus or whatever. I think we all have something inside of us that says we're, programmed to believe in something greater than ourselves, whether it's, just fate or faith, or there's something there that compels us to believe there's more than just ourselves. And I think that you can't let anybody take that away from you. It doesn't matter.
See, and on the other side, the way we were raised, we were supposed to be raised Catholic, where they would say, go to church, and it was the Catholic Church. But, we were never made, okay, you have to believe this, or you can't eat meat on this day or anything like that. We weren't really practicing, and, they just said, go to church because you're supposed to go to church.
Right.
And it didn't go past that. So when I met Steve and he was going through that, I was so surprised that that people actually think this way, and not in a bad way, just thinking, oh my God, how that could really screw you up. And they have all kinds of documentaries out there. There's one really great one called For the Bible Tells Me So, talking about gays and lesbians and what it says in the Bible and all this stuff, and it's a really, really great documentary. But I know that we had a lot of problems in our relationship because of that, and because he was struggling so much with it, that I think to myself on my end is, the way I was raised, the religious thing is not an issue whatsoever. Because I was starting to question everything at about 10, 11 years old. And I remember going to my mom and saying, Mom, I really don't believe this whole Virgin Mary thing. I believe that Joseph was banging her. She didn't get pregnant by just not having sex. No, that didn't happen. And she's like, yeah, it did. Well, why? Well, because that's just the way it is. No, it's not the way it is. And I started questioning. So,
but that's natural. I think anytime you don't understand, or it just makes sense to you, it's within your realm of knowledge to believe that, and that's fine. I think everybody questions that, and it's perfectly natural.
Well, do you think they do, or do you think some people just?
Well, some people buy into the whole thing, but I think, of course, you're going to question things, but I think after a while you have to just stop questioning and just have faith. That's the whole point of religion and spirituality. So what if somebody married and get physically impregnated? You just have to have faith that it happened.
Right.
But say in your case, Israel, you didn't really have a religious-based upbringing. What is your moral compass? What gives you a sense of moral responsibility to somebody else?
I guess seeing the adults around me, my parents, not really my parents, my mom's, because I don't know if it's like this in every family, but I know in the Hispanic community, the dad is just sort of there. So I looked up to my moms, my mom, my grandmother, my aunts and uncles, and just my experience of being alive and thinking, just what I believe is just being a good person, right and wrong. I think at a certain age, you know what's right and wrong, and just going from there. I really can't think of anything.
But I think that speaks more to spirituality over religion, because my parents were spiritual.
Right.
My mother was Catholic. My dad really, he could be Buddhist for all he cares, But we didn't go to church every Sunday, but we were Catholic with Catholic beliefs and Catholic morals, and I've grown up with that, even though I didn't go to church, and it wasn't ingrained that I have to go to church all the time. So I think that's the difference in religion versus spirituality. You can have a good moral compass coming from teachings of spirituality from religion, but you don't have to be religious.
I agree with that.
But see, the dangerous part is, it seems like 80% of the world needs something to follow. They're followers, and they want to follow someone. But then when you get a crazy loony up there preaching, then you have all of these people believing in what they're saying, and then you end up with like the woman who cut. What was it? They found the baby with no arms and legs because God told her to.
Right.
Right.
Well, she was crazy. That didn't. She wasn't trying to get followers.
Right.
She was just off.
No, I'm saying she was one of those followers that saw this person.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm sure she went to church, and it's usually those really religious ones that are
Right.
totally
But
crazy.
don't
nuts.
you think those people have a less? They're not in tune with that moral compass. I think those are the people who haven't had that spirituality ingrained in them when they're younger. I think those are the type of people who don't have anything to look towards teaching-wise when they make those choices and those decisions. They didn't have that strong background of this is what's right and what's wrong.
Right, and then when you take that, and then you have somebody who's gay or lesbian, where do you go and
Right.
who do you listen to?
Right.
Well, I think there's plenty of information out there. There are lots of churches. I belong to a really good one that's a gay and lesbian church here in Dallas, and I think it's helped me a lot.
Which one is it?
Cathedral of Hope, and it's a terrific place. It's helped me reclaim my Christianity, and I feel really great about going there. It makes my whole week wonderful.
You know, one of the people who helped found or helped build the Cathedral of Hope wrote a great book on spirituality and being gay. It's called Lion at the Gate. And I can't remember his name, the author, but it is a great book on.
Mike Piazza?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a great book.
Where do you go, Steve?
I don't go to church now.
Really?
I've reconciled myself to God, but until I find a group of people that really believe in love and truth and that type of thing, then I'm going to stay away from church because I believe it just makes me more judgmental and less of a Christian than the people that go to church.
Well, just because people going to church, they're not always going for the right reasons.
True.
And it's true. I mean, you have to go and do that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. That has to be about you, and not about what's going on there and the politics about church.
I agree with you.
It can't be about that.
Oh, I got you. Wow. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a small break, and we're going to come back with final thoughts on the show. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll be right back.
Whoa, this stuff is really good. Aren't you guys brothers?
Hi everyone, welcome back to the 10%. I'm going to. It's the end of the show, and guys,
Wow,
I
that
just.
went quick.
I know.
Very fast.
I want to go ahead and just get final thoughts on anything that we discussed in the show. Anything that you think, oh, I didn't get to cover. I wanted to say this.
I think for me, I still sort of feel the same as I did when I started. I think it's always good to get people's opinions on things, and if you feel insecure about things or whatever, you should just ask. Have conversations like this with strangers or people that you know or want to know, and find out what they're thinking. I think it's a good way to handle it.
Very good.
Well, you know what? I like the forum that we have here. Being able to talk as friends and bringing up issues, being able to hash them out and having different opinions. I think it's interesting that even with our diversity, that there's so much diversity.
Right.
Right.
That's a really good point.
Yes, very good. Steve?
And trailing on their points, it also kind of comes back to, well, we're diverse, yes, but 10%, 90%, we're all diverse. We're all kind of in this same boat together. Our opinions, I'm sure, bleed over into the straight community, the lesbian community, whatever.
Right.
So we really kind of have to, I think, be accepting of every person.
I agree.
Very good. Awesome. Excellent. Excellent thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for being on the
Thanks
show.
for
This was
having
so
us.
great. Guys, thank you for watching. You can stay updated on this show if you go to lalunaentertainment.com and click on the 10%. If you would like to email us, go to the 10% at yahoogroups.com. That's the number 10% at yahoogroups.com. Thanks for watching.